Hey everyone, good evening. Thank you for joining in today on a Saturday evening. Excited to welcome you all for the Smart Money Camp webinar that we're hosting today. I would request at this point for all of you to please switch on your cameras just for a few minutes before Sneha sort of gets in, gets into the presentation. We would love to just have a quick informal chat with you guys, see what you guys are looking forward to, what are you excited about for today's webinar specifically, and we'll take it from there. So I do see a lot of familiar faces. Hi, Sugan. Sugan, why don't we start with you first? What are you excited to learn today in today's webinar? What got you here?
The reason I came here is just to get an idea of how to start investing in my teens and the power of compounding and why it is important to start investing early.
Okay.
And how this process of budgeting works and the ways to plan how I spend my money and where I spend my money.
Okay.
So those are the reasons I come here, Rishi.
Okay. Thank you, Sugan. Good to see you. Let's take a few more students who have their hands raised. I see Manas there. Manas, go ahead.
Recently, me and my friend Shlok have got up with an idea that we will start saving up money to buy things ourselves in the future. And we just saw this webinar in our mail and thought, hey, this might help us out quite a bit in whatever we are going to do later on. And when we are buying things for ourselves and saving up money for our future, we do need all the ideas we can get because it is our future.
Awesome. That's a great answer, Manas. And which grade are you in, if you don't mind?
8th grade.
8th grade. And which school are you from?
Legacy School, Bangalore.
Bangalore. Awesome. Great to know. Let's give one of the girls a chance. Sachi Shah. What are you excited about today, Sachi? Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, wherever you guys from. So I actually did an investment simulation competition recently, and I realized that there's so much to learn. And I just wanted to get a little bit more insight into that. And I will also be going to uni next year, which means, I will obviously have a lot more control over my own finances. And I intend to not have to rely on my parents for, the other kind of fringe things apart from tuition, food costs and things like that, like transport costs. I want to try and make myself as self-sufficient as early as possible. And I saw this opportunity come along and I thought it would be, a good head start.
Cool. Awesome. Anyone else who would like to, before we sort of jump in, we have a full house today and a lot of ground to cover in the next 1 hour, but anyone else who would like to share what they're excited about, what they're planning to learn, so that of course our mentor Sneha gets to know and gets to sort of chat with you more. Shlok.
Yeah, so I'm the Shlok that my friend Manas mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing some work around the house lately and been trying to save up. Because I think once I recently ordered something and some part of me was like, okay, now I want to get more, but how do I get more? And then with that thought process, it went to, but if I want to buy something later, how do I save up for this person's birthday, but also get what I want? So stuff like that, I thought this webinar would come in handy.
Okay, perfect. Guys, with this, I cannot wait to interact with you guys a lot more after we sort of end. I would request just a couple of logistical things from our side. Do keep your questions for the end. We have a lot of material to cover, even though we would want to make it as interactive as possible. Of course, with almost 100 people there, sometimes it's not really feasible, but we do want to make sure that we get to all of your questions towards the end. So whether we are talking about inflation or budgeting, there is a small exercise that we will be running through with you. I don't know how many of you got to see the PDF that was attached and sent to you. So keep all of that handy. At this point of time, I would like to introduce Sneha Jaggar, one of our mentors from the International Money Matter company, who is here to, of course, talk to you about personal finance. How, as a high schooler, can you really think about money, think about investing, think about budgeting, cash flow, all the things that you guys have talked about today. So with that, I would really like to again thank Sneha for taking the time out today, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Rishi. So excited to see all these youngsters here and what lovely aims that they have. Already looking at saving, already looking at, do I really need this? I think amazing. I am here to learn a lot from you, to be honest, than to be teaching you. So it's going to be interactive, guys. It tends to get boring. So you have to keep me awake. You have to use the chat box and start being interactive through the box. Please do not unmute yourselves, because like Rishi said, there are 100 of us. So it will be more, elegant to have you writing on the chat box itself. So welcome once again. Let's have a quick understanding of what are your expectations from today's webinar. I know 4 of you spoke, but what about others? Why are you here? Can you quickly put it down on the chat box so that I can get a collective approach of, what my audience wants today, what these youngsters are looking for. Come on, 100 of you. I'm looking at some at least 40, 50 messages coming across tongue in the next 2-3 seconds. Learn about investing, budgeting, schooler or college going, how to invest in money, want to become financially independent, to know where and when to invest, understanding finance, interesting, how to use money wisely, to be ready when I am an adult. Excellent. I love that response. Want to know how I can save a little by little from now itself. Very good. Looking at financial education. Great. Thank you so much for putting this across. I'm going to warn you though, just one webinar is not going to give you all your answers. Personal finance and money management goes deeper than 1 hour of learning. Okay. So this is an introductory webinar trying to teach you some basics, not jumping onto investments and simulations and markets directly, but giving you some basics and formation on your, the first level foundation on your personal finances, right? How many of you know this person on the screen? Anybody can recognize this person? So there's nobody who does not know Warren Buffett. Excellent. Excellent. And what is he known for? He's known for? Why is he famous? Because he's one of the best investors, right? Yes, investing. And he's written many books and guided all of us here today, even in the business of managing money for other people. We all look up to him. Recently, he had his 90th birthday also, right? What do you think is his regret? Have you read about him? Do you know what his regret is? He says very nicely that I made my first investment at age 11. I was wasting my life up until then. He wishes, or whenever you hear him speak online, he always says that, I wish I would have invested earlier. Ari, you've already started investing at the age of 11. How much more earlier do you really want to go ahead and invest, right? So I'm not scaring you out there. I know you all are older than 11 today. So it's not to scare you. It's just to tell you that you're at a great start and you're thinking about it is a wow factor. So while we are looking at our webinar today, I'll just quickly run through the agenda so that you all know what we are covering. We are we're getting a little more technical about money. What is money in general? We hear a lot of it, but what money really means. What is the difference between earning and managing money? Is there a difference between investment and speculation, or are both the same, right? And then what is the approach that you actually need to take for investment planning for yourselves, since investment is what, I generally hear you guys talking about. And I think one more factor of money is being mindful about money. A lot of times we want to be the best, we want to be the richest, we want to be, out there. But how can you be mindful about that? We'll talk a little bit about it today. And lastly, for all those who wait till the end, Rishi has told me that he's going to give a special bonus for the entire audience, right? So please make sure that you're there till the end today. What is money? Money has three main aspects. First, it's a medium of exchange. We all want to buy some things we don't have, right? And if I have to go take that thing, what does the other person accept in return is money, right? It helps you exchange services, goods, etc., so that then the other person can utilize this unit that person has received to further go ahead and take whatever that person needs or requires in life. The second thing that money provides is unit of account. It is a measure. How much is the real value that you hold? We cannot all talk about things in terms of, say, it would be vague, if we have to all measure that, Rishi, what do you own? Rishi would say, I have the Big Red Group. Okay, but then what does that mean? If you tell me, I'll say, okay, I have International Money Matters. Okay, but then how do I even, come to a common ground to even understand what is the unit here? That's why money acts as a unit of account. And the third piece that money carries is storage of value. Money itself grows with time and it has storage, it has value to it. That is why people are ready to use it as a medium of exchange also. So these are little technical terms of money. But do you know that money affects various aspects of your life also? And why does that happen? Because money on its own is not where the happiness lies. But when you use this money to achieve various things in your life is when you start feeling happy, right? It's used to get something in your life today or later. And how does it affect various aspects of your life? Because money in itself, earning money is one thing. But if you don't know how to manage that money, what happens is you get stressed. And that stress affects various areas. To give you an example, your mental health. There are actually researches done that if people have higher debt, lot of EMIs than their earning capacity can support, go through depression. So the root cause is not being able to manage money and leading to a mental health issue. A lot of people, when again not able to pay off their debts or not have enough money to sustain their lives, start drinking, smoking, etc., and physically get affected. Similarly, if say even for you, if you are going in your school social groups and say if there was not enough money management or money management not done well by your family, and every time they say that sorry, I'll not be able to let you go for that picnic, and it happens over and over again, at some point in time you face social issues when your friends come and tell you you never come for any picnic. Nobody understands the deeper cause there, but it does start affecting social health also. Lastly, relationships matter. If every time money is a constraint in a relationship, you go and have these small fights also. You'll tell your dad, yeah, every time you're telling me that I can't go for this picnic, like all my friends are going, why can't I go? XYZ has got this new phone, when are you buying me? I think iPhone 13, right, Rishi, that's landed this week.
True.
Yeah, so ABC, all my friends have it, all my friends are playing Xbox, why can't I play it? So that's where these fights come in. And the root cause here is not because earning or anything, it's just about not being able to manage money. So money in itself has various aspects, and the more you learn to manage it, the better your life becomes. Also, I've been talking a lot about earning money. You know, you kids have all been taught, chalo, you have to study well, you have to be performing well, go for these competitions, go for robotics, go for leadership classes, etc., over and above what your school is teaching you. Mainly because everybody is telling you, yay, you do well, get into your Ivy League colleges and make sure that you join one of these big companies, do great work there, be employees of these big brands that you see, or end up, you know, having your own startup. There's a problem that you found out and you think there's nobody solving that problem, and I want to have my own startup. But what after that? These are all the means to earning money. What about, you know, okay, you've earned money, then what? That's where money management comes into play. And money management need not start when you have started earning money as an adult, but money management can start today itself. Financial planning, in simple terms, money management is a very wholesome exercise. It starts off with, first of all, it changes at various stages in life. And it starts off with basic things like understanding what the cash flow looks like. Where is the money coming? Where is the money going? It then talks about budgeting, you know, okay, I know where money is coming, where it is going. Can I introspect a little deeper to understand, is my expense logical? Is that something I really need? Can I forego? Do I need to hold it? At the same time, a lot of people want to get into these good big colleges, and they may have to apply for loans, right? At least the parents do apply. May not get 100% scholarship, or, you know, may get 50% scholarship and 50% will have to be via loan, or it could be 100% via loan. So at that time, there is pressure when you actually start working to pay off that debt, right? So how do you take care of these aspects whenever they come in for you? Another important piece, which even adults mess up, let me tell you that, okay? Even today, when I speak to adults who are in their 30s and 40s, do not understand what is insurance planning. So it is basically a seatbelt of your finances. You know, seatbelts of the cars, right? Like that, insurance planning is the seatbelt of your finances. And to keep it simple, we've just said 3 things that it is a must. And maybe quickly you can make a note and ask your parents also if they have the health cover in place, life insurance in place, and critical illness in place. I am not going to deep dive on this today, because we've got an entire module dedicated to insurance planning in our program. This is just to give you a quick glimpse. Another aspect that comes on in as you grow is goals planning. Right now, you may be planning for goals which are simpler. You know, in our program, we're going to give you an exercise of goal planning where we're going to talk about simple goals for you today. How you can actually take, maybe it's, you know, buying your first bike when you go to college, buying your first phone in the next maybe 2 or 3 years you're hitting college. Or somebody else spoke about, you know, being able to manage my personal expenses while education expenses are taken care by parents. So these are smaller goals of our life. How do we design for those goals? And that's something we're going to cover. The same concept applies to you when you become adults as well, but this is an introduction to goals planning. And lastly, wealth accumulation and distribution. Everybody gets into the rat race of earning money to be finally getting their financial freedom and being able to live their life in a very comfortable way where money is not a concern, right? So in short, financial planning is a wholesome exercise, and it changes with time, with the changing life circumstances. It's not that you've studied it today, done it today, and ho gaya. It's not like 10th standard is over, 10th standard will never come back to you in your life again, right? So let's take charge and take control of our money. Can I get quickly on the chat box? What are the forms of money? You know, generally money is depicted as notes or coins, but do you think there are more forms of money? Can I have you guys ping me on chat quickly? Credit, debit, plastic money, plastic, credit, crypto, bitcoins, cards. Excellent. So here are the different forms of money I'm showing you quickly on the screen. There are meal cards, there are checks, digital money, ECS. Also, pocket money is a form of money, right? How many of you get pocket monies? Can I quickly get some raise of hands, or maybe yes, I do. Great. Most of you are saying yes. Is anybody who does not get pocket money? I don't get. Okay, I've got one. I don't get. Okay, okay. So then we've got mixed. Some do get pocket money and some don't get pocket money. Great. Understood. So there is a mix. There's a mix there. So in our program, we are also going to cover about how you can convince your money to give you some bit of pocket money to be able to then start doing budgeting and planning for your, learning to manage your money, right? So, okay, jokes apart, thank you so much for letting me know. We'll move on from here. What do you think is the biggest enemy of this money? Any form of money, whether it's cash, card, debit, credit, whatever. What is the biggest enemy of this money? Debt, temptation, debt, interest, gambling, expenses, tax. No, there is only one big greed. Okay, bills is expenses, wants. In my mind, okay, there is one big enemy of money, which is inflation. Humans. Interesting. Yes, increase in price. Somebody said that. Increase in price. Absolutely. That is what we call as inflation. And this is a small image that I've put across to explain inflation in the simplest form. The dollar, or we can say rupee 1 in 1978 could have ended up giving you a cart full of your shopping. But this same cart, if you have to have the cart full of shopping in 2000, has gone to 3 of these, coins. However, in 2021, it's gone to 5, right? So this is where inflation comes into play. How many of you have heard your parents say, oh my God, 500 rupees for this? I would have got an entire month's expenses in 500 rupees. Yes, so it was same thing for me when I was small, and when I was spending 100 rupees, that's what my parents used to tell me, that my first salary was 100 rupees. My first salary for a month was 100 rupees, right? So this is nothing but inflation. Inflation eats into your money, and we have to manage money. When we have to manage our money, we have to be having strategies where we can beat this inflation. This is our biggest enemy, and our strategies have to make sure that this enemy is being beaten by us as the first step. Another example to, again, another depiction of, what it means, I've just reversed and shown that if you had 100 rupees in 1975, you would get a cart full of your shopping. But same 100 rupees in 2000 probably would give you half a cart full of your shoppings, your groceries. If you take 100 rupees today in 2021, you barely will get 1 or 2 items, right? So again, this is inflation over time. And if we had kept that 100 rupees in a piggy bank in 1975 and broken that piggy bank today, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? No value, less money, well, absolutely, absolutely. You have put it in a box, the money has remained where it is not grown inflation linked, and it cannot give you what you need in today's term. Absolutely. Value is decreased. So while I think this has given you a pretty good understanding of inflation and importance, and this is where the next slide is linked, where people talk about investing and wanting to, invest money. But even before I get there and talk about investing, I want to understand, who do you think you are? Are you a spender, somebody who spends? Are you a saver, somebody who likes to save? Or are you an investor, somebody who likes to invest? spender, saver, saver, spender, saver, saver. A lot of you are savers. Amazing. Spender is, I think, a little less. Or am I biased, Rishi? Am I just reading only savers?
I think we've got a mixed bag.
Investor, lovely. I have a lot of you talking, telling me that you're amazing. Okay, so my point is you can be spender, saver, or investor, and I'm happy to work with all of you if you are one of these three. Please do not be a speculator, right? Absolutely no speculation here, because we are not here to make quick returns. We are here to build wealth. And I'll give you quick definitions. Who is a spender? A spender is someone who looks at spending first. If you get some income, you first think, okay, I want to go for this party. I want to make sure that this new dress is bought, or, this is the ice cream party we've all planned for. I don't know what teenagers plan nowadays, but maybe I'm talking something from my times. Maybe this is the school trip I want to take. Okay. So being a speculator is also fun in future market. Interesting, Sagar. We'll talk about that. So yeah, so a spender is someone who is actually spending money first, rather than savings and saying, okay, whatever income has come in, I'll minus all my expenses, and then if I have something, it becomes my saving. A saver is somebody who would say, okay, I have got this income, let me put this savings aside first, and then the balance remaining is something I will keep for my expenses, right? So you can recheck the ones who said, I am a saver. Are you truly a saver? Does this statement define you? And similarly with spenders. An investor is somebody who takes these savings, adds growth to it to beat the inflation that we spoke about, and end up becoming investors, right? So in short, it was just to understand what type of crowd I have today. And then I said very clearly, do not be a speculator. How do you think you will not be a speculator? Are there some steps to, like, not get into speculation, etc.? Well, it's not complicated. It is just to understand what is it that you want. Understanding the why of your investment helps you not be a speculator. Yes, Tiara, very true. We all save, we all invest, and we all spend as well. But this was an exercise just to understand a little bit of psychology of yours, the psyche of yours, to what comes to your mind first when you see money, whether it's buying these items for yourselves or first putting some money aside in your savings account. Yeah. So moving on to the next slide, what keeps you away from speculating is understanding the why of your investments. How do you understand the why of your investments? By knowing what are your goals. And in personal finance terms, we call them as financial goals. Have you heard of SMART goals? I think this has been used quite widely, but just want to get a sense if the audience knows what SMART goals are. Otherwise, I'll deep dive into them a little. Okay, again, so we've got a mixed crowd. I think a lot of no's are coming in. No worries. SMART goal is an acronym. SMART is an acronym. S stands for specific. Your goal needs to be very focused, right? It cannot be vague. It cannot be like something which cannot be clear. M stands for a goal. I'll give you examples after this. After this slide, I'll give you examples of what SMART goals are and how you can build your personal finance SMART goals. M stands for measurable. Your goal needs to be measurable. Again, it cannot be, I want to drink a lot of, I don't know, I'm thinking of some example, saying that I want to walk a lot in the day. I want to increase my exercise. Again, how do you measure whether you've actually done it or no? When you say I want to meet the 10,000 steps in a day, it becomes measurable. At the end of it, if you've not done your 10,000 steps, you've not met your goal. So it has to be measurable. At the same time, it should be achievable. You can't say that I will do 1 lakh steps in a day. It is again beyond your reach or anybody's reach. Therefore, it has to be something which you can achieve as well. You can't say things like, I want to save 100% of my money to become a billionaire in the next 1 year. These are again slightly unachievable goals.
There to page number. Check my.
Sorry, Rishi, somebody's unmuted. Yeah. Then your goals have to be realistic. They cannot again be something which is very vague. They have to be very, very realistic, and they have to be time bound. You can't say, I will study when I want to study, right? That's not really a smart goal. When you define that, I'm going to study my English on Mondays for an hour after my class, is a very, very specific goal a very smart goal that you've created for yourself. So SMART, again, for those who don't know, is an acronym which says S, specific goal, M, measurable goal, A, achievable goal, R, realistic goal, T, time bound goal. How do we use this in terms of creating smart money goals for yourself? Give you an example of phones. You say, I'm going to convince my mom or my dad to buy me a new phone. Is this a smart goal? Yes or no? No. Why is this not a smart goal? No, it's not a smart goal because it's not measurable. It's not specific, right? It's not time bound. So we make it smart by saying, I look forward to buy a 30K to 50K worth phone 6 months from now, right? So today we are not, right now while creating the goals, we are not worried about how will we get there. We will talk about that a little later. But right now we are looking more specifically on how to create these smart goals for yourselves, which are money smart goals, smart money goals, sorry. Another example would be camping trip with friends, I mean, if I had my son come in, he is also a teenager, telling me that, Mom, I want to go for an international trip for 2 months with my friends, I will freak out because I know cannot take care of himself. So this is like unachievable sort of a goal. So I'm going to turn it around and say that teenage trekking group, I probably want to go for a teenage trekking group once a quarter for rupees 2,000, and it becomes a specific goal, right? Lastly, computers. Another example I have for you is personal computers. You may research for the best computer available and buy for college. That's probably what you're thinking. I will do my research and take the best computer and have it for whenever I start my college. Again, this is a goal that you want to achieve probably, but how do you convert it into a smart money goal? You say, okay, I need a sturdy, durable computer in the range, you define it money-wise, in the range of 50K to 80K in 2 years. Now, these are examples only. These amounts, the time frames will completely vary from each individual to individual, depending on your age, depending on your stage in life. So don't get carried away by the numbers I've put in. These are only examples for you to better articulate what you want from your investments. Investing blindly without having any goal in mind ends up leading to speculation, because you will read today and say, okay, this stock looks good, or this investment looks good, everybody is doing this, let me also do this. But if your goals that you've defined for yourself are not aligned with those investments, then you shouldn't be doing them. That is why goal setting is the basic thing of personal finances. When we talk to adults also, we talk about goal setting in a big way. Once you've set your goals, the next thing that you need to do is budgeting. And this is where I would like to bring in the exercise also. I'll quickly explain what budgeting is. Budgeting is understanding your movement, where money is coming from, where it is going. It is as simple as it can be. Where money comes from is nothing but your sources of income. Where money goes is nothing but your expenses. And what remains at the end, income minus your expenses, is savings, right? Budgeting is an exercise where you start defining what do you want to do or how do you want to manage the money. Do you have this exercise sheet with you? Did anybody take time filling it or looking at it? Pranshu says yes. Shreyashi says yes. Oh, very good. I have a lot of people saying yes. So, 1 second. I'll also open this sheet and help you. We'll just spend about 5 minutes and tell you how you can look at it. Okay. So, your sources of income for teenagers. Sources of income, of course, pocket money is one of it. You may not today be truly worried about where the money is coming from because your needs are taken care of by your parents. Obviously, they are the ones who decides, you know, whether this need is truly to be fulfilled by the savings they have done or no. Whether they might give you the budget for the birthday gift you want to buy for your friends, etc. But I would suggest that you start looking at least your expenses and start bifurcating them. Understand how much expenses are borne today by your parents for you. A part of this expense would be completely dependent on them, like your tuition fees, your class fees, etc. I'm not saying that you have to learn to be able to pay those off on your own. Absolutely no. They are there, they are your guardians, and they are there for you to take care of that. But what I'm trying to say is you should understand what your expenses are. And today, say if you were to live on your own 3 years, 1 year, 5 years, whenever you're getting into college, how would you take care of those expenses had you the choice of, you know, defining your source of income besides pocket money, right? So I'll share the screen. Sorry, I'll have to switch my window. Just let me know once you can see. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Great, thanks. So here what we've done is just to make it simple. Ideally, budgeting is done for a year, for months together, but we thought that let's make it simple because something which is too long, you guys will lose interest. So let's do it for a week. Say you start from tomorrow. Today is Saturday, Sunday is the beginning of the next week. Let's see, you think in the next 1 week, what is your planned expenses? So I'm skipping the income piece for now, since I'm assuming that most of you are getting pocket money or have your parents taking care of your income sources. But I'll explain the expense piece, so the similar concept applies for income also. So I want you to sit down and think, okay, in the coming week, what are your expenses? What are your planned expenses? Where do you think that you're gonna end up spending money? Are you going, is anybody's birthday coming up? Is there any review of your renewal of your fees, or you have a Netflix account and you want to renew something over there? What is it at your level? You know, do you own something to your friends? Like, do you need to give something to them? What are the expenses at your level? Do you need to buy the new storybook that you want to read? Is there a new a hobby class you want to join? Is there you know, any expenses that you think would come at your level? So in a week, what are these planned expenses that you have? You can write down the expenses in the first column here and the amounts next to it, right? So you say that, yeah, I'm thinking that these are the 4 or 5 expenses I'm going to do during this week. And this is the planned amount. So name of the expenses and amounts next to it. And then whenever the expenses actually take place, put the actual amount next to it. So the first column here, which is planned amount, is nothing but your budgeted expense. So you're saying that I'm assuming I'm going to spend so much. Then the reality check comes in with the third column talking about what is the actual amount spent. Okay. And then you can have your totals. You can know for yourself, what did you miss when you planned for this? What happened when actually, the event took place? At times, there are things, at times, people overthink. They think that, oh, I'm going to spend on this. But actually, the life is simpler and actual amount spent is way lower than what they are thinking. And there are another set of people who think, I hardly spend, I just need so much. So they will just plan the minimal piece. But when they're actually checking it with the actions, they realize that they have overshot their budget by whatever percentage, 10%, 20%, 50%. So this sheet helps you take control. And why this sheet is short, like for adults, it's almost like 2 pages long because that much expenses happen. But for you guys, we've kept it simple to say start off. Don't think that whether I'll put everything on the sheet or no. Start off with some of these to be able to get into the practice of budgeting. Then with the similar thing with the income, and then you go ahead and say, have I actually saved anything? Or say if your pocket money is dynamic, can you add the element of savings into that? Say whatever expenses you have, can you increase your pocket money by 20% and say, okay, these are some expenses I can't do away with. So can I add another 20% and ask my parents to give me a little more pocket money? And this 20% I will use for my savings. And that's what you add here. You define what you're going to do with your savings also. What are you planning to save this for? What are you going to, where are you going to put this money aside, etc. We'll talk about in the next slides. But say you even carry it on to the week 2 of your budgeting exercise. Then do you think, because you've got more money, you're suddenly having new expenses? Or are you, sticking to what we had told you in the beginning, like, okay, this is how you have to plan and this is how you have to maintain your expenses, etc. So you start understanding your habit, your psyche. Start maintaining this for yourself. So we've also given another page where we've given it, you can use it week-wise and bifurcate each of your expenses in this column, in the rows. You can also think of using it monthly once you're comfortable with the weekly budgeting, and start doing it monthly. So there are 4 weeks in a month, and that's how we've designed this to give you 4 weeks. So you can have, say, 5 items on week 1 of Sunday, and then another 3 items week 2 of Sunday, whatever it is. Or even you could use this as a summary. So say if you've done this for a month, use this chart as a summary to start off and say, where what did you actually plan of doing in the week 1? How much did you end up spending, and how much did you end up saving? So you could use this as a summary as well. This will give you a sort of an analysis to say, are you increasing your expenses? Are you increasing your savings? Are you, depending on whatever numbers come up, it will give you insight that, I'm not thinking deep enough, that I should plan for these expenses, or I should, I'm thinking too much that I'm planning for this. So that's how we've designed this sheet for you to use. And I think some of you who y'all are joining us for the program, I would suggest from now until the program, start using it to get a hang of it. And then, you'll have more questions. I'm telling you, once you start using this, you'll have a lot of questions. And those are the questions, again, you can ask us during the program as well. Okay, somebody's asked, ma'am, will you be sending us this sheet? So the sheets were already sent to all of you. And Rishi, maybe you would like to send an email again.
We can send it again to you guys, but in the welcome email that was sent to you, the sheet was already shared, but more than happy to do that again.
Okay, thank you. So this is a very, very short introduction to budgeting for all of you, and I hope you start using it. Intermittently is also good, but please start it, because when you tomorrow get into college, this is something which is very much needed, to understand the movement of the money. No, spending money on stocks is a part of your savings. When you're talking about expenses is something you are, utilizing for self-consumption. Your expenses could be paying your school fees, buying books, going for your extra classes, going for your tuition classes, buying soccer shoes, buying football, buying an instrument for yourselves, phones, any subscription for learning, all of that would be your expenses. Savings is something which you've kept some money aside and utilized it for achieving something in the future. So your stock investments end up, you're using money to buy stocks, end up being savings converted to investments. Okay. So I hope I was able to articulate myself on this sheet, and I'll go back to the slides. Yes. So once you know where your savings are, what do you need to do? Once you've learned budgeting, you need to start using the savings for investing, right? And how do you define investing? I mean, how do you go about investing? It has to be linked to your goals. You cannot be blind about investing. Just because somebody is doing something, I'm doing it too, does not make sense. That's not the way to go about it. In order to do investing, you have to know your goals. Your goals may be something which is almost immediate, in less than a year. Your goals may be something which is short term in nature, in the time frame of 1 year to say 3 to 4 years time frame. And your goals could be long term, which is say about 4-5 years plus. And there are various investment products that come into place when you look at investing in these categories, again linked to what your individual goals are. If my goals are all to be, if I have goals which are needed to be met in the next 1 year, I have to focus only on liquid category. If I have goals which are only 5 years and above, I will focus on long term. If I have goals mixture of the two, then I will look at both the products in both those categories, again linking it back to what my goals are, right? And when this is how we build portfolios for people, this is across board, whether you are a small investor, big investor, very big investor, this is the underlying logic of investments. If there are goals which are immediate, we use categories of investments which are like your liquid funds, your arbitrage mutual funds. Again, don't get hassled by these names. We have one entire module dedicated on explaining all of this. This is just to tell you how you can make your investment, what are the investment products available in the market. So if it is a less than 1 year investment, you have to look at something which is very liquid in nature. Liquid meaning it can readily be redeemed. So it could be FDs, it could be keeping in your bank balance savings account, it could be liquid mutual funds. When you have short-term goals, you look at, again, fixed deposits, which are more than a year. You look at a very interesting category in mutual funds, which is equity savings mutual fund, and of course, the debt mutual funds. The long-term category looks at your stocks, looks at mutual funds which are equity linked. It could be equity index, equity, etc. There are lovely funds from the government as well, which is your Sukanya Samriddhi scheme. Obviously, this is for girl child only. There are EPFs and PPFs. EPFs will come into play once you are employed in India. PPF accounts can be opened. There are also these direct stocks, which a lot of people were talking about. And there is real estate. And one of the easiest way to invest in stock related or market related investments is doing your systematic investment plans. You've heard of, I think you would have heard of SIP Karo. many a times, a lot of ads are going on. So SIP is nothing but staggering your investments in the market. Even if you have like, say, 1 lakh of rupees, you don't take 1 lakh and park it into the market immediately. You should stagger your investments for 3 months or 6 months and enter the market slowly. Okay. So in short, don't get worried about all these terms on your screen. It is just to give you some high level overview. It's not to intimidate you. We will be deep diving into this, but for now, I just thought Rishi was telling me, do not put this slide, they will get carried away. But my point was, it's important to give you some value when you join our webinar to even understand, what are the options I could look at. So even if you want to go ahead and say, okay, I have short-term investment, let me read about these options a little more and understand on my own, you can still go ahead and do that. But this is again just to put perspective. So there's one thing that is missing here. Can anybody identify what type of product I have not mentioned? Anyone? It's been used in the chat today earlier. Cryptos, yes. So crypto, I love to say this, that cryptocurrency is the achar of your food. And then, my colleagues came and said that, Sneha, please don't give that example. The teens don't eat achar. Okay, so please. I'm like, okay, fine. Then what should I say? Then I'll say, okay, cryptocurrency is like the ketchup with your French fries. I think that's a better example for you guys. So while you would be thinking French fries is like the main side dish or whatever, part of your burger meal that you're ordering, you have a small ketchup next to it. That's what cryptocurrency is. Cryptocurrency investment is, from the technical side, from the advisor's side. While we are talking about, high returns on cryptocurrency, it's gone up, it's gone high. I told you, we have to stick to our goals. We have to know our why, and we have to build wealth over a long period of time. We just don't have to get high returns today and then wonder, okay, I got this return, now what to do with this money? I don't need to utilize it. What next? So the idea is to make money and grow your money, yes, but over a longer period of time, help you build wealth, not just do these speculations. These are all speculative moves. We will have them as a part of our portfolio, but like that sachet of ketchup, in our McDonald's meal or something like that. So why cryptocurrency is, not a main asset class? Because I think you all know that cryptocurrency is virtual. It is not physical. It's a new era of, virtual currencies that we are landing into. However, it is not regulated yet. We are seeing markets maturing. We are seeing governments accepting and moving forward, but it is still an unregulated sector. An unregulated sector will not help us build wealth yet. We have to be very, very watchful. If we have only 1 lakh rupees, we cannot put all the 1 lakh rupees into cryptocurrencies. However, if we want to, have an experience, we can take 10%, about 10,000 rupees, and play with it and understand what's going on there, so that even if we lose that 10,000 completely, we are not getting pinched. There is enough and more for us to hold on to and grow as my wealth. Also, cryptocurrencies are very volatile. Right? Elon Musk puts a tweet and the prices of Dogecoin go up and down. So it is very, very volatile. It is unregulated. So right now, assume it's a smaller part of your investment, but you're definitely not going to do all your investment into cryptocurrencies. More about cryptocurrencies again in our program. For now, a quick introduction, and I don't have to introduce cryptocurrencies to you, but these are the risks that are underlying, and therefore I decided to, put it here. Next piece, and a very important piece, is that I'm just going to go a little bit into money decisions. Money decisions is a very personal side of money. Money has two sides. One is technical sides, and we've spoken about all of that today. One is the personal side. The personal side of money is where money decisions come into play. And generally, we've seen that men and women make money decisions very, very differently. And there was a social experiment done by one of the companies called Paytm earlier this year. And I would just like to share what their social experiment was all about. Rishi, can you let me know if you can hear?
Sure. It's good. Sneha just stopped. It was, I could hear it earlier, but.
Sneha, I think you've muted yourself and that's why we cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. 1 second.
Step forward.
Yeah, good.
Everyone. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear because I was.
It's fine. It's good now. You muted
Okay.
yourself, so we could not hear it, but it's good now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So much for coming to help us conduct this experiment today.
We were of different ages, we were made to like stand in line.
Now I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. If your answer is a yes, step forward. If it's a no, please step back. Here goes. Ready? Did you learn how to ride a bicycle before the age of 10? Did you learn music in school? Did you take any lessons in sports? And no, video games are not a sport, even if it has the word game in it. Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
In the beginning, I think the questions were more general. People were still going forward and backward. Questions like, it was funny to see like the cooking question, there were a lot of men who went ahead and there were women who were going behind.
Do you usually make all the household bill payments yourself? Do you know the circle rate in your area? Do you know the price of gold today? Do you know the exact breakup of your salary?
As the questions unfolded, the stark difference came out visibly.
Do you know the details of the financial documents you're asked to sign? Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consulting anybody? Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget?
Like you think you're doing okay, but then you're like, okay, these are kind of important things that I don't look at.
Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds? Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? Do you make the investments for your family members or your spouse? Do you file your own income tax return? Now, everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially, when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
The minute the questions became about managing money, the gap between men and women became very clear and evident.
You know, women handling certain responsibilities regarding their own life, which were always passed on to someone else in the family or the men.
There was a slight unfairness I realized at that time. But at that point, it seemed normal.
I was upset. I wanted to be at the front of the line, saying, why don't I know this? Why am I not confident enough to say, yes, I am able to understand this?
It was quite an eye-opener for me because I always depended on the men of the family to take care of my investments and, plan my future.
I felt that obviously men are more into it than women. So eventually, I did expect the gap to be there.
For the years growing up, there were certain very traditionally masculine tropes that were assigned for him and certain traditionally feminine tropes that were assigned for me.
For women, it's practically devoured to learn to know and to focus on money.
I wish I had known from the beginning of my childhood and kind of thought about that I would be doing so much better.
Just actionable measures is what we want, really.
So, like we started off that a lot of people, even when they are older, don't really understand what it means by managing money. And even today, when I speak to a lot of people, they're like, why was I not told about this earlier? I would have done things so differently in my career, and probably I would have retired at the age of 35, had I known this. Therefore, with Rishi and with the Big Red Group and IMMPL, this is just a small thing that we are trying to do at our end to be able to teach the next generation how to make money decisions early on, and also close this gap which exists between men and women when it comes to money decisions. Lastly, we talk about money and think that we should be riches, we should be the most richest, we should be Warren Buffett and have all the money in the world. But I think in my experience and my personal belief, where managing money is concerned, that you have to be mindful with your money. You can't just try to have a superlative degree attached to it. You have to have your smart, purposeful financial decisions made by you, and then make decisions that align with those purposeful decisions of yours. It cannot be blind to say that I want to make the maximum returns. It cannot be like I want to have the biggest car, or the most expensive car, or the most expensive house, etc. It has to be a little more purposeful. What impacts you, and how this money can actually help you achieve the bigger purpose. You have to, I can't repeat this enough, you have to stay focused on your goals. Only then all these lines going up and down in the market is not going to affect you, because your plan is goal safe. Lastly, something that I would like you to carry home with to your parents as well: please involve your family in making money decisions. I understand that a lot of parents, one of them make decisions and the other one follow, but I think it is important to have both the parent coming in together and making financial decisions for the family together. And with that note, again, I would repeat, this is a small, step from our side, creating the Smart Money Camp to be able to change things, not just teach you guys, but try and create a movement where money management is a skill which is parallelly being learned by the new generation that's coming into workforce, and not going to be as surprised when they get their first check, to actually be able to take wiser decisions. So with that, I come to the end of the webinar talking about one thing that I personally believe, that money in the hands of good people can change the world. So this movement is not just about you doing things, but this is about changing the world at a larger end. So please go ahead and enroll yourselves, learn more about this. And I think Rishi also told me that we're going to have a special webinar for all the people who've been with us during the webinar today. And I see there's almost 100 of you. So Rishi, I hope you're geared. We are having a discount. We are extending this discount to all the 100 of you. The website price for Smart Money Camp is at 25,000 plus GST. So the total price is about 29,500. We are offering a flat 32% discount and giving you it all at 20,000 rupees, all inclusive. Please note that this discount is valid only until tomorrow. That is Sunday, 12th September 21, 5 p.m. Rishi, will you be sharing the link on the chat over email? How would you be doing that?
Yes, I've just put up a link out here on the chat as well, and you will receive an email about this as well. Just so that you guys all know what we're talking about. Once again, we have a Smart Money Camp happening over next month from 18th of October till the 23rd of October. It's an 18 to 20 hour program, specially curated and designed for you guys. We've taken a lot of effort in the last 1 year, I would say, to design this for you. It's all for grades 8 to 12 students who want to learn about money, who want to learn about investments, about the stock market, about different sort of planning mechanisms, right? Whether that is, now we have the outline out here, of course, from the meaning of money to budgeting, investments, borrowing, portfolios, everything in a very simple, straightforward manner. There are going to be a lot of games. There are going to be a lot of simulations, a lot of cool stuff. We do not want to bore you. So we do hope that you are able to take advantage of this program. As Sneha is rightly pointing out, there are going to be a lot of quizzes, case studies, activities, and real life simulations within the Smart Money Camp. So do go to our website, which is thebigredgroup.com. And of course, you have the link, which you'll get over an email as well. Feel free to register for the program by tomorrow. And if you have any questions, you can always just send us an email. I'm just putting up my email address as well. Feel free to do that, and hope to see a lot of you there. And yes, a lot of people are asking me about the application. No, we do not. This is not an application-based program like some of our other programs. So you can just make the payment and you will be enrolled. I would like to say, though, we have got a great group of students already from more than 10 cities attending this program. So we have a very diverse group of kids who are going to learn from each other. Of course, mentor like Sneha, who are going to, of course, sort of be there with you through this journey. And of course, we hope that you're really, after you come out of the program, you're a more informed decision maker, of course, hopefully a saver rather than a spender, and in walking towards the path of an investor as well. So on that note, we would love to sort of, Sneha, it'd be great if you could stop your screen share. You guys can switch on your cameras. We would love to actually learn from you guys now. Would love to hear about any questions that you have, whether that's about investments, about inflation, or anything about the webinar that you have been hearing from Sneha so far.
Yes, I would also like to say a big thank you to all of you for attending and being patient and keeping your questions to the end. So I think we are at the top of the hour, but we'll keep it open for another 10 minutes in case you have any questions you would like to ask us.
Manas, Shlok, you had your hand raised as well?
No, I forgot to lower it down.
Okay.
A while back. Yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I love all the thank yous that are coming up. Okay, we have a question from Irene.
Yeah, sorry, my camera is not on. The
No
internet
problem.
for some reason
No problem.
is not that good. I had a question. What exactly is a private equity firm? Like, I know that you invest in them and they invest your money, but someone was saying that they invest their profits as well. So I had a question about that.
A private equity firm generally would mean that they are managing money, at least in the finance field. When we say we are from a private equity firm, it means that we are collecting money from people and we are investing into another companies. So it's not like a mutual fund. It is more like my own strategy. I collect money, I raise money, and then I manage that money, having certain investment underlying, certain parameters I have, and use this money to further invest down. So they also fall under the, generally they fall under the alternative investment category, and the minimum investments that you have to make range between 50 lakhs to 1 crore.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Welcome. There was somebody, Rishi, asking to share this slide, the first few slides. So if you can just point out and tell me what was the topic of the slide, I'll try and put it up again on the screen.
We'll do that. We will be sharing the recording with everyone. So guys, don't worry, you will have access to the slides and all that we've talked about today. So don't worry about it. Aishik, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but yeah.
No, it's right. But ma'am, I want to ask that in teenage we have not so much capital to invest, but how investing at teenage? Is there any specific platform for us or anything else?
Yes, so you very rightly said, actually the capital is not the worry, because the compounding that comes to you is amazing because of your age. So the small amount being available is not to be worried about. Therefore, the easiest way for you to invest becomes into mutual funds, because mutual funds takes as low as even 100 rupees, 500 rupees investments. So that is one of the best ways to go about. However, if you're under 18, you will need a guardian with you and open your account along with the guardian, and then you can move forward with the investment.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Sagar?
Yes, good evening, ma'am. And thank you so much for this amazing workshop. It was worth my time. And well, I was just gonna ask you that you talked about cryptocurrencies earlier in this webinar. So, what do you think about cryptocurrency? Like Warren Buffett is totally against cryptocurrency, and I have heard some news that Bitcoin, Cardano, and Ethereum, some of these cryptocurrencies are merging. So, what do you think? What is there benefit to invest in cryptocurrency or not?
How much are you investing in cryptocurrency? What is your base and how much you're looking to invest in cryptocurrency?
I'm not currently investing in cryptocurrency, but I'm seeing it. Like I'm watching all of the Bitcoins, Cardano, and Ethereum, and there are a lot of cryptocurrencies.
So every cryptocurrency has a reason for being there. If you remember, I talked about three reasons of money. What is money? And I said three things about money, which is medium of exchange, account of value, and storage. So each of these cryptocurrencies, if you read more about them, are aiming to solve one or the other problem. Today, even when we are saying that money is accepted as a medium of exchange, can you use INR and buy something in the US? You can't, right? That's where you will need a USD. So you have to take INR, convert it to USD, and then you can spend it in US. Or you need your card to actually, you may have an INR denominated credit card or debit card. The bank does all the work at the background, do the conversions, etc. May take your INR, convert it, add their exchange rates, whatever, and then end up paying the merchant in the US the USD that they want to receive. So there is a glitch when it comes to money even today when there is a medium of exchange. The reason Bitcoins came into place was they wanted to bridge this gap. They wanted to say that there should be one currency which can be accepted world over without any one country creating any sort of dominance. And it is all on technology, etc. So the reason of Bitcoin existing is very deep. However, the market is not matured yet to take cryptocurrency as a actual medium of exchange because there is no regulations around it. Today you put in a lot of money and then something happens. Say we've got COVID now. There is electrovid. There's no electricity. Then what will happen? If we go through something as strange as that, how is it going to work? So the Bitcoin is very, very volatile. There is no regulation around it. All the governments, all the countries are trying to understand how we can regulate it to actually use the idea behind creating this at a much larger level. So there has to be regulations, coming into play to be able to formalize this entire piece, and then it will become a way of investment.
Your name correctly.
But today, as far as I see cryptocurrencies, it is more of a hype, to be very, very honest with you. And if I tell somebody, please don't invest in cryptocurrency, they'll say, who are you? Are you even seeing the returns? And that is why I kept on exaggerating and saying that look at your goals and build wealth. Don't try to speculate. When you're trying to put in money just because, it's going to go and become 3 times, then you're speculating. You're not really building wealth. And still, if knowing all this, you still feel that, there is a FOMO, I have a fear of missing out, then you keep it like your ketchup I spoke to you about. If you have 10,000 rupees to invest, you put 10% of that into it, put 1,000 rupees into it, but don't take the entire chunk that you haven't put it into this. So that's how I would tell you again to look at cryptocurrencies from this angle.
But ma'am, when the cryptos like Bitcoin was crashed, when it was crypto crash occurred in April or May, and I predict that crypto will Bitcoin will hit 36 or 40,000 again in August, and my prediction was absolutely right. And I want to ask you that you said that Bitcoin is very volatile and all. So why El Salvador, the country, has organized the Bitcoin as a legal tender? Then
So you
what have they
you
seen?
have Bitcoin was done as an experiment in El Salvador. You should read about the entire piece. It's very interesting. And that's how there are a lot of aspects to it. It's not just, it was first launched over there to experiment and see what does the country do. If this becomes a currency of a country, how does it play? And so on. So there is lots to it. And I think, yeah, we're going way over this now.
No, it's fine. I would just like to tell Sagar, I mean, from a layman's perspective, what I like to see with cryptocurrency is that whether it's being used as a medium of exchange, what we talked about with money, right? In a lot of countries in the US, or at a point you were able to pay for your school fees or everything else with Bitcoins or with cryptocurrencies, which we are still not able to do in India, right? At this point of time. So don't just look at speculation, look at how it's used, and that's whether you really trust whether cryptocurrency is going to be used 10 years down the line, and whether it's going to be used as a medium of exchange. But there's so much that we can talk about crypto, so I don't want to get too much in detail. Do we have any last questions? I'm so sorry.
Leaving Bitcoin, what do you think, which is the best cryptocurrency to invest in? Leaving Bitcoin, except Bitcoin.
There is no tips here, sorry. Because I don't want you guys.
I am asking your opinion, not your tips.
No, but you might be asking opinion. It might be a tip for somebody else. So sorry, no tips on the session. It's a pure literacy session. It's no pushing anybody to say that, this is going to go up, and then somebody else might end up saying, I heard this in the webinar, and it goes towards, again, herding behavior, so on and so forth. So sorry, no, even in funds and other categories, we don't give any sort of recommendation. It's a pure knowledge sharing session that we are trying to build.
You're right, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Any last questions from anyone else on right now before we let Sneha go? Okay, I think that's all from all of us out here. I would again just like to tell everyone who is here that we have a great Smart Money Camp financial literacy program for high schoolers, especially design, which is taking place next month from 18th to the 23rd of October. We have put a link out here. I'm just going to put it once again for everyone to see. Please do check it out. You will get an email from all of us, giving you sort of the special pricing that is there because you attended today's webinar. I wish you all the luck and a great weekend ahead. Again, would like to thank Sneha, Ronak, everyone else from the IMPL team. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you so
See you
much.
guys. Bye.
Bye.